Hello, everybody, and welcome to ArsenGirl Gaming. My name is Heather, and I thank you for joining me for another speed build. This one is kind of a fun one for me. This is a beach shack. So basically, the idea was, those little shacks that you find in beach towns that people only stay in like just because they want to be on the beach and they don't have the money to afford, a nice house or whatever. It's literally everything they need. It's usually secluded, not in like the actual like populated part of the beach town. That's kind of what I was going for with this video. I built it before Island Living came out as part of my tiny house series. As you can see, I'm simulating the beach here in I think I'm in Newcrest, and try to do my very, very best with the limited resources that we had. I even made my own little quote unquote ocean. I know it's pathetic, but it worked for my purposes. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. I really wanted it to feel like it was like in kind of a secluded area off the beaten path. That's why I have this like forest of palm trees. I could have probably added some other trees in there, but I really wanted to kind of ram the point home by having like all those palm trees there. I have to look at the palm trees as being symbolic of the tropical, jungly feel that I was going for. I think I pulled it off fairly well here. I was very excited. Of course, you guys know if you've watched any of my videos, I'm a beach girl. I live in Florida. I love the beach. The beach is my happy place. Everything in my being yells out for palm trees and breezes and sunshine and not so much the sand. I mean, I like the sand, don't get me wrong. I just don't like the sand when it gets everywhere. But that is like my happy place. So I'm always kind of reimagining where I would live, what kind of house I would have. And sometimes it's a tiny little beach house. Sometimes it's a mansion or an estate. Spoiler alert, I have a speed build of an estate coming very, very soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But basically, it's all about imagining what would make people happy and different kinds of people. Like this shack, the idea behind it in my mind kind of was like a surfer, someone just needs a place to get away, can't really afford, even a tiny house on the beach or a Airbnb or whatever. If you think about like those fishing shacks that you think of in the winter, those ones, I think they're like ice shacks or whatever. People put them out on like a solid frozen ice pond, and then they like have those holes in the middle of the ground, and then they fish from that. And I think they're just temporary. I wasn't going for quite the same temporary feel with this build, but kind of the same idea. It's a place to lay your head. It's a place to come at night, and the rest of the time you are on the beach. You are doing nothing but being on the beach, on the water, outside. You don't need to be inside. It's so primitive that there's not even a bathroom inside. The owners build, and you'll see this coming up soon, an extra building just to house the bathroom facility. So that's how primitive this is. Now, if it could be off the grid, it might have even been off the grid. But in this case, I went ahead and gave them electricity. They have running water. They have, a refrigerator. They have an oven. They have everything they need. But the idea is they're going to be outside. They're not going to be inside. This is literally a temporary resting zone. I like the way it came out. I was here in the pool. I was trying to kind of do a little bit of a rocky bottom just to simulate less of a pool and more of a natural habitat. So that is a trick if you are base game or any if you're playing in any of the lands that don't naturally have water like Island Living does. You can use different kinds of items in pools to kind of simulate the feeling of an actual natural water source like a pond or I do a lot of rivers the same way, try to do the edges not quite as straight. And the idea behind that is you can literally use scenery items like the rocks or bushes or grass or anything to hide the edges of the quote unquote pool to turn it into whatever you're envisioning it be. And it's a great way to add water features to lots that aren't just pools, so or fountains. So it's something I do quite a bit in a lot of my builds just because I really enjoy kind of that ambiance. Again, it goes back to me really being kind of a water girl. So, yeah. And with this bathroom, let's just talk about the build for a minute. With the bathroom, what I did is I decided not to put a door on it. I decided to put just an archway. And the idea behind that was I was kind of thinking, sometimes when you're at public places, they don't have doors, they have arches, and you can just kind of walk in and do your business. It's kind of weird. I mean, they usually have a couple rooms. This one just has one room. But I did hang some curtains on the door so they could be closed for privacy. Again, I was going for primitive in my own sort of way, even though it is decked out with all the necessities. In my mind, this is pretty primitive. It's probably the most primitive I would ever spend time in because I'm kind of like that. I don't like to be uncomfortable. I really, really prefer not. So my idea of camping is kind of like taking out an RV and popping out the slide outs and like living in luxury with a king size bed and a couple TVs. I'm definitely not a roughing it type of girl, but thankfully The Sims allows me to kind of play on the edge of roughing it. As you'll see in my rags to riches challenge that I'm doing right now too. I don't do super well even imagining roughing it. So it's kind of a step out of my comfort zone when I have to think about that kind of stuff and do those things. So yeah. Uh it's always a little bit of a challenge. Someday I might get there. I'll keep testing my build abilities and see. And of course, if the Sims designers keep giving us more and more items that allow us to kind of rough it, then you're going to see more of that because I will work on it. So in the decorations, I was kind of trying to go for more of the rustic kind of feels. I definitely did not want this to feel like it was an upscale shack. I wanted it to feel not upscale at all. So, but I did want them to be able to like comfortably stay in it overnight. So I don't know. It was kind of a thing, but I did use these. Now, they did use these hand-built items, and those are found by unlocking hidden objects. There's something your Sims can build if they start working with the work table. Just unlock them like I did and place them in the house. And they're a little bit rough, so that was kind of what I was hoping that would feel for. And you see basic kitchen. You've got shelves for your supplies, refrigerator. You got the coffee maker because I mean we need coffee, right? We can't live without coffee, especially if you're going to be out surfing and you have to get up early in the morning to hit those waves. And then I did put a little grill outside because I'm imagining the person that's staying in this shack is not cooking much inside. Maybe they're going fishing, they want someplace to grill it. I don't know, but that was kind of my imagination. And then I'm just going to load the kitchen up with a lot of like fruits, veggies, because I'm kind of envisioning as well that they're either getting this stuff from a market or they're foraging for it. I don't know. It was just kind of where I was going. And I had this picture of this like surfer in my brain the whole time I was building this shack, a surf female, not a male, a surfing female. And so that was kind of my impetus for this. Now, what you're going to see here in just a couple of minutes is after Island Living came out, I took this home and I moved it over to Island Living. And I put it on exactly the lot that I envisioned it would have been on originally. So I'm very excited to share with you how I kind of really saw this build being, now I do a little bit of editing in the island living side, but not much. Basically, you'll see adding the stilted foundation. It's partially stilted, it's partially still the foundation it had on the other lot. And also, I kind of adjust the trees a little bit and I added the steps to the side because originally I had built it with the steps in the front of the house off of the porch. So I moved them to the side so that you could actually access the house from the beach instead of the water. So I hope you really enjoyed this look at my little tiny beach shack. And if you did, I would love it if you would give me a thumbs up. Let me know you watched. And of course, if you're new to my channel and you'd like to see more, I really encourage you to subscribe. If you ring the bell, that will let YouTube know that you would like them to notify you when I post something new on the channel. That way you don't miss out on anything coming down the line. And I have a lot more coming, including more speed builds. I have my Rags to Riches Let's Play, challenge, whatever you want to call it. I have so much more coming. I have more Sims Mobile. I have more other games as well. So you'll definitely not want to miss out. And I hope you will enjoy everything that I have to offer this summer and then some. Until next time, have a great one.